Hello! I've been asked for tutorials a few times, so I figured I'd try to give you the basic idea of how I do this. I start with a piece of vinyl. This one comes from my shop, Shell's Custom Designs on Etsy. The template I'm using comes from Ellie's Crafty Co. She's really cute. She's got lots of fun designs. The tumbler I'm using is a pre-sanded from Makerflow. These come all pre-prepped, my sweaty hands, but I always wipe them down with an acetone or even nail polish remover, whatever you want to call it. Can't remember the name right off. Usually when I do these templates, I'll have this extra seam down here and I'll cut it off to save the pieces because I'm a cheapskate and I like to keep all my stuff and use it for something else. But for the purposes of this, I'll just go ahead and pull it off, save some time. I use transfer paper that I get on the roll from Amazon. If you need a link, let me know. I can add it in. For these, I typically just pull it off, fold it in the middle, and let it fall onto the template. And I did cut this ahead of time on my Cricut. Make sure it's on there really good. I'm going to just peel this off. You'll notice I'm using the pink mat, the fabric grip. It's only because I ran out of mats and this was an extra. It's definitely a little bit more tacky than I like. But remove it before you take this off, because otherwise your template will wrinkle and stick to my very dirty work surface. Next, I'll just cut this down to size. Try to go fast for y'all. I'm never very quick, unfortunately. This is a fun little honeybee design I just did. I use a lot of designs that I combine to make fun different things. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can see that I've skimmed a little bit and left some edges. It all comes out in the wash. Decide which way is your top, and I think I'm going this way. I line it up on the tumbler. And I'll have a little bit of a rim, but that's okay. I trim it before I seal it. And I usually have a little bit of a lip on here too, and that's okay. Most of the time when you lay it on there, you are able to take an X-Acto knife, whatever you may use, and line up your cut lines better. And then I will take some masking tape. There's a couple small pieces. I usually have some that I reuse a few times. Might as well pinch pennies where you can. Make sure this is completely lined up. I'm not quite there. And I'll tape it top and bottom. Hopefully you can see that. And it's just a temporary tape. Just enough to hold it into place. And from here, I peel back the backing from the decal or the vinyl sheet. And I like to just fold it back about an inch or so. Ignore my super dry hands. You can tell I've been in the acetone and all that good stuff for a little bit this week, making a order. I press it firmly right along the seam, making sure it's nice and tight. Trying to get any bubbles out from there. But you'll notice the vinyl I print on, it has a really good give. You can move it. So that really helps a lot. The only thing I wish I could find was a lighter grip transfer template, because it does it can be a little tricky to remove. Just gonna remove these. No longer need them. I usually just tape them to the side of my Cricut for next time. Now you've got this little piece of lip here. Just fold it out a little bit. And slowly start working your way across the tumbler using firm pressure. Your fingers will get a little bit sore doing this, but I found that my fingers will work better than any tool. I can feel the bubbles under it. And again, this vinyl is super easy to work with. It will lift for you. I can feel a bubble there, so I'm just going to work it through. But another trick, and let me see if I can find it, is I have these weeding tools. You can simply pop out the bubbles. Just work your way across it, doing the best you can. See a bubble? Sometimes it's just in the top, but you'll find most of the time you can work that out after you've removed the top sheet. This is a first video for me doing this, so hopefully it's not too long and overly involved. Even if it's the top sheet, I don't know why, maybe I'm just, I don't know, I pop the bubbles. It seems to help in the whole process of it. Now the vinyl I print on, I do print with an eco-solvent printer, so your carrier sheet should not damage it unless it's super sticky. The one I get is just a medium tack off of Amazon. And when I find that when I do these tumblers, the little holes, you never see them when you're done. Resin fills them in. And at the end, I can just seal that down. Actually, I don't even need to do that. So for me, I'm going to lift this back up and fold it back just like I did the underside, not quite as far. And this gets to be the tricky part. Just try to keep your vinyl pieces with it best you can. It's going to be a pill because we're on camera. And you can always adjust it afterwards because again, this vinyl does give quite well. So I will start on this side, pulling the carrier sheet off. That way, when this flap comes down, it doesn't get stuck on the carrier sheet and I don't have to fight it out. And I'll work on it. You can see that this vinyl lifts a little bit. It's still got play. It's not permanent. Just work your way through. Always got to have those little bits that fight you. And having one of these little pens I find is just a lifesaver all the way around. You can see this a little bit funny. It'll smooth out when I lay it. Vinyl does stretch, so that's one thing you have to be careful with. I like to get it down and sealed to the cup before I start pulling. If you're lifting a lot of areas, and then they will stretch. So if I were to pull this back and then try to peel it down from the tack sheet on its own, it wouldn't lay as well. Now that this is here, I'm just going to push this little wrinkle down, and I'm going to lay this over the top of it. That seals it down. Really firm. Rub my finger along. You can see I have just a little under 1/8 of an inch there. Sometimes that messes with my patterns, sometimes it doesn't. I'll just use my X-Acto knife. I would rather have an overlap than show the silver. And I just slowly roll this back. I don't pull upwards, I like to roll it back. It seems like the vinyl lets it go better that way. And you will get bubbles. You can see I've got some. It doesn't really affect it. I'll just smooth those back out as I go. Those are the bubbles probably that I was trying to pop earlier. I have the best luck with sliding it back. And you can reuse these tack sheets 2 or 3 times. This is the first time this sheet has been used, so it's definitely more tacky. I like it best on about the second use. It lets it go a lot easier. And it's definitely a little bit of a workout there. I always try not to panic about these little pieces lifting if they get wrinkled, because I know I'm going to pull them anyway and glitter. It's these big solid pieces that I really want to try to keep as straight and smooth as I can. Sorry, it's probably loud, but I will fold my tack paper over, and you can just unravel it for the next use. Hopefully that's not too loud. It's going to be a pain now. But you can see how easily that vinyl lifts off the cup. It makes it so much easier to work with. That's what I get for lifting instead of sliding. It's just a little wrinkled. I'm just going to lift it and straighten it out while I'm there looking at it and fussing over it. I got this piece stuck underneath there, but that's okay. It's a piece that gets glittered and removed, so it shouldn't be an issue. Now, Arteza makes a marker, and I believe it's acrylic paint. I use the fat ones. That's what I use to paint the tumbler. I use a color that coordinates best with the glitter I choose. It dries so fast, and then I can go right on top of it. I usually use a paintbrush, and I'll apply glitter glue. Just set that aside for another time. I apply glitter glue and then sprinkle my glitter on, and it just makes it so much easier. So for me, I'm going to start, I'll just remove one for you so I know where I am. I like to remove small sections at a time so I don't get lost, and this is going to be a bigger section than I'm used to, but that's okay. So I don't get lost. My husband. Gonna edit that out. So these these will just come off 2 at a time, looks like for this template. Why am I so embarrassed to talk in front of my husband while doing this? That's so funny. I'm trying to shoo him out of the room. Oh, I love her templates. And that really worked well with the bees. It cut off one bee, but that's okay. Oh, there's still a little bit more here. Looks like I went across. I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, right there. It doesn't quite line up. So what I'll do with that, if I can get this off my hands, is, if I can find it, even them up just a tiny bit. It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't look obvious. You might have a fatter line there, but really, I don't think it makes too big of a difference. I clean up all my lines. Got a dull blade here, I'm sure you can tell. Just like that. It's so super easy. Anything you see that needs flattened down. And I will take my marker, and with the good vinyl on there that's already set, I'll draw on each piece in the coordinating color. I'm almost thinking I might use a honey or a purplish color on this one, just to contrast. Then I'll take a paintbrush and I'll paint glitter glue on top of it, sprinkle it on, tap it off, and your section's set. After you've glittered everything that you're going to glitter, take it outside or wherever you spray stuff, and I use a sealant. Make sure that you're using a glitter that's not going to run. I found that with a couple brands that I won't mention, probably because I don't remember what they are. Blacks are notorious for running. Another thing I do is when you're working with vinyl and you're resining, if you don't have a lip here, you're not going to get a good seal to the cup. So I have one of these handy dandy little gadgets set at 1/8 of an inch, and I cut the vinyl from the bottom and the top, so I know that I'm going to get good adhesion with my resin. That's the last thing I want to do. Obviously that blade's getting dull too. So the last thing I want to do is send a cup out to somebody and have the vinyl lift. So I'll do this to both sides and just peel it right on off. Sometimes I'll glitter the bottoms to match, all that fun stuff. But gosh, this is going to be really pretty with this new template she just made. I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes out. Hopefully that wasn't too long of a drawn out video and you were able to get something from it. I've learned how to do this from watching tons of other tumbler artists. Everybody's got such great ways of doing things, new ways of doing things, and I'm sure this is very similar to what you'll see on others. I would start listing off names, but of course my brain is not going to work for me this morning. Ugh, nothing worse than sticky stuff. But I'll be doing that. If you need this, hopefully this can be read. The vinyl is from my shop. You'll find it on Etsy. The template is Ellie's Crafty Co. Tumbler Maker Flow. They have fast shipping. And this one again is a 30-ounce pre-sanded tumbler. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you. Bye.